Okay, let's do this. Let's now we can work to make our coaches double goal coaches. We can work to make our parents second goal parents. But the reality is that sometimes they're going to screw up, and sometimes they're not going to do things that we want them to do. They're going to violate our culture. Hopefully, they won't be like those incidents that I showed you earlier. But what do we do? How do we intervene? How do we, when a coach does something we don't want him to do, or a parent in the stands, or after the game?
We're generally pretty good about, if there's either an isolated incident or a repeat offender, that we jump on them pretty quick, and we've suspended parents from games. Last year we had to do that, and we've suspended coaches too. We've given coaches written warnings and whatnot.
Okay, so so one thing you're doing, you try to nip problems in the bud, right? You try to get on it right away. Is that what I heard you say, Jay? And then it's sometimes you've gone as far as to suspend both coaches and parents. What's a parent suspension mean? What's that mean? I can't come to the games? What's it mean?
Well, in this case, I told the parent that if they showed up, I would tell the umpire to stop the game until they left.
Okay, so they weren't allowed to come to the game?
Yeah.
Was it a certain number of games or one game?
Just one.
Yeah, okay. Did it have an impact, Jay?
Well, I mean...
At least for one game it did,
the parent didn't come to the game, so I mean...
So you didn't have that influence at that one particular game?
And I don't recall ever having to address it again.
Good, okay.
So, I mean...
It sounds like it...
I'm sure that they have a picture of me in their garage that they but, I mean, that's...
Yeah, well, I think if you join, Jay, I know you didn't do this. If you join the board to increase your popularity, you join for the wrong reason, right?
I know. Totally backfired on me.
So here's what we know from working with youth sports organizations since 1998. We know when bad behavior isn't nipped at the bud, your culture immediately starts to degrade. Okay? PCA, we call this fixing broken windows. If there's a broken window and you don't fix it right away, you're going to end up with more broken windows. We also believe in a system of intervention. A system. And we like it documented. This is one example. We think it's a great example. So the first time a parent in the stands gets out of hand, we think that the first level is someone does something like this. It could be by the way, the informal levels can be anybody. It can be another parent going like this. If the behavior continues, then it's a gentle verbal reminder. Molly, remember, we're supposed to honor the game here. A gentle reminder. Some people, that's all they need. Someone intervening, and it changes their behavior. We know that for some people that's not enough. The next step is assertive. Molly, that's not the way we do things here. Again, these first three levels can be done by anybody. If the behavior continues in our sample of progressive intervention, it now goes to formal levels of intervention that are carried out by a league administrator or a game umpire. The first formal level of intervention is a warning. Mr. Nieves, if you don't knock it off, you'll be ejected from the premises. It's a warning. If the behavior continues, then they are removed. And the first option they're given is self-removal. Mr. Nieves, you were warned already. You must leave the premises. If they don't leave the premises, escorted removal. Do you know what escorted removal means? We call the police and we have them removed. We call the police and we have them removed. Now, we also think an important step is when when you have to take official, formal levels of intervention, we think publicizing that you've taken action, that you have backed up what you said you were going to back up. Social learning theory says that one of the ways we learn how to behave is by seeing what happens to others that break the rules and don't behave. Okay, so what was? Let me make this more concrete. So, you know, do you have a website? Okay, so maybe halfway through the season, you've had 6 people warned, and you've had 1 person ejected. We think halfway through the season on your website it should say, here's how we're doing so far. In the first half of the season, spectators have done a great job of honoring the game, with some exceptions. We had 6 parents warned for unsportsmanlike behavior in the stands, and we had 1 ejected. You don't have to name Mr. Smith, okay? But you let people know that you are enforcing your culture. You let people know that you have the desire to equality and maintaining your culture.
So, Jay, I have a question.
Yeah.
We all have a where you can't leave it to a 13-year-old kid necessarily to wield justice.
No, the umpires control the field situations, the adults and board members and the president control outside the fence.
Okay? The good news is that the stronger your culture is, the more of a development zone culture you have, the less likely that problems will even get to this point. And that's what you're trying to do, create a culture where this happens very rarely.